owning a land or a house and living in it on one hand, or owning the documents to that land or a house and not living in it on the other hand, which is better? Which one carries more weight? Now, when we're talking about investing in real estate, there are certain things you need to understand when we're talking about land ownership, property ownership, and documentation. Now, I'm dedicating this video specifically to aspiring real estate investors, new property owners, and even existing property owners who have been doing things the wrong way without actually knowing that they are sitting on a time bomb. Now, listen to this because this is very important. Mr. Jide bought a plot of land from the Omoniles. Now, after payment, he received his payment receipt as evidence of payment, and then he relaxed for a few months. But after a few months, he finally got ready to develop that land, so he commenced building a three-bedroom apartment so that him and his family could move into that property. 2 years after moving into that property, a certain barrister Taiwo came in to serve him notice, representing a certain Mr. Sheun. Now, Mr. Sheun was claiming to be the actual owner of that land that Mr. Jide was already living in for 2 years with his family. What had happened was that without the knowledge of Mr. Jide, after he paid and got his receipt, those few months he was relaxing and waiting to get ready to commence his project, the Omoniles sold that particular land to Mr. Sheun, who didn't know that the land has already been sold to Mr. Jide. Now, Mr. Sheun was already an existing real estate investor. He didn't plan to develop the land, but he just needed to invest in real estate. So after buying that property, he got his own payment receipt. But he did not relax there. He went straight ahead to process every other necessary documents. And that is what the barrister was showing Mr. Jide. He showed him Mr. Sheun's payment receipt. He showed him his deed of assignment. He showed him his registered survey, and including the almighty C of O for that land. You can see that Mr. Jide is already in trouble. We don't even need to go to court for us to know who the winner of this case is. The only way for Mr. Jide to win this case, in my own learned opinion, is for Mr. Jide to negotiate with Mr. Sheun. Because at this point in time, it didn't matter how long he had been living there. The document alone proves that Mr. Sheun is the owner of that property. I get in the gist of things now. Another example for us to understand the importance of documentation when it comes to property investing is this. You see, those people living and doing business around Alakija, along Yanoba, Underbridge, Lasu Road, all those axes. Before that road expansion project started, when the government came in with their bulldozers, came in with their machineries and everything, and they were demolishing people's houses, demolishing people's shops. When they came to talk about compensation, it didn't matter anymore how long you have been living there or doing business there. The only thing that would make you eligible for compensation was your documents you had on that property. In fact, there was a woman along that Alakija who lost her properties without a single naira compensation from the government because her husband was the owner of that property, but unfortunately the husband is late and they didn't know where he kept the documents. So they didn't get a single compensation from the government. So when that kind of thing happens, when the government come to acquire a parcel of land, maybe for road expansion or for any type of project, it won't matter how long you've been living there. It won't matter if you have a 12-bedroom mansion sitting on three plots of land, you wouldn't get as much compensation as somebody who had just one plot or half plot with a C of O. If your 12-bedroom mansion sitting on the three plots have maybe just a survey or registered survey, you wouldn't get as much compensation as the person who had one plot with a C of O. This is to tell you the weight that documents carry in real estate. With this little point of mine, I hope I have been able to convince you and not to confuse you on the importance that documentation is better than owning a property. Cheers.